28% of the people got it correct, so it's okay. It's 72%. So that makes this the worst problem of all. Yeah. I wonder how much of that had anything to do with the fact that not many people did the assignment for that week, because on Khan Academy there was some that were just like it. There's two ways you could do number one. They want to know which of these numbers are solutions. So one of the obvious things to do would be that you could solve, but you might run into a problem solving. If solving means to isolate, what would I have to do first in order to isolate the x? What would I have to do first if I wanted to isolate the x? I distribute, right? Well, when I see the thing, maybe you haven't noticed, but at least this semester, we haven't really done a lot of distributing with variables. There's a variable outside, which makes things not as much fun. Now, the first time is not that big of a deal, because when I multiply x times 7, I get 7x. That's not a big deal because that's still linear. But the problems that you would have encountered, not everybody, but some of you, would have been when you multiply those two. What is x times negative x? It's negative x squared, which means that what you would have is an expression that's quadratic, and that requires a whole bunch of other things in order to be able to solve. So I'm going to go on a limb and say that if you got it right and you didn't guess, you probably didn't do it that way. More than and really what you should have done, and that homework assignment that I mentioned on Khan Academy, if you remember, there were some problems that said, "Oh, which of these are solutions?" And you might have had to have picked more than one answer. Here, you only got to pick one. All they wanted you to do was test all of these out, plug them in for x, and see which one gives you a true statement. So, what's he doing here? I say the shut up. Okay, Margarito. So all I'm doing is taking turns replacing the x with each one of these numbers to see which one gives me a true statement. Here on this third one, on C, minus a negative 1 is the same as saying plus 1. That's how I got the plus 1. And then for D, this is my favorite number in the world to substitute. You'll see why shortly. Okay, here, use your fingers. What's 7 minus 2? It is 5. He didn't need it. Is 8 less than 10? 2 times 5 is 10. Is 8 less than 10? Yes. Yes, it is. So it does appear as of right now that this is going to be our answer here. It's going to be A. But just to be safe, let's try out the rest of them. What's 7 minus 8? Negative 1. Negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. So is 8 less than negative 8? No. No. On the next one, fingers again. What's 7 plus 1? 8. It is 8. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. No, again, 8 is not less than negative 8. No, we're not sharing that with anybody. Okay. And then the reason why 0 is the favorite number to substitute, because regardless that 7 minus 0 is 0, who cares? What 0 times anything? 0. Is 8 less than 0? So the only one that makes sense is 8. No caps. Okay, the next one is number 4. And this is a pretty, like, no, I'm about to kick you out of class, man. I'm trying everything I can not to, but it's like an everyday thing now. Like it's just you're too popular, and like you're just talking to people across the room. No, don't help me out. If that's the type of help you're gonna give me, don't help me out. Just stay quiet and pay attention. These are all just one step, but now in here in the one step, in order to get x by itself, what do I have to get rid of? What? Not how, but what do I need to get rid of? I have to get rid of a 4, and now I do not need to get rid of the 2. Don't want to get rid of the x. I want to get the x. I got to get rid of the negative. How can I get rid of the negative and the 4 there in one shot? Definitely going to multiply. What am I going to multiply by? Multiply by negative 4. Uh-oh. Look at that. I'm multiplying both sides by a negative. So what should happen?
Flip the sign.
Thank you. Flip the sign. So x is greater than or equal to negative 8. The point of these problems, it was supposed to assess whether or not you knew how to graph, but they kind of helped you out by writing the inequality there. So even if you have no idea what a graph should look like, only one of these says that x is greater than or equal to negative 8. And that's D. You need a closed point at negative 8 shaded to the right. Mouth eat variable. Any questions there? When was the last time you were in ISS? No? About to. You don't have anywhere anymore else to send. I'm just tripping. Next, there's also one step. These are the ones missed the most. So. I'm going to divide by. Is that what you did, Jonathan? You divided by negative 3? And then, Jonathan, what happens when you divide by a negative? It turns positive. It's okay. It's not like somebody just said it 30 seconds ago. Yeah, Jasmine. Yeah, the inequality sign. It's not your fault. It's not as too hard. That's why we give you plenty of chances to pick it up. Eventually you get it right. But that's the spirit. Go to the school of hard knocks. Right, Orlando? Jair said maybe. He didn't say no. He just said maybe. Like, he might be your Valentine. So. Exact same type of problem. How can I get h by itself here? By? Divide by negative 8. For the third time in a row, what happens if you divide by a negative? The sign flips. So 8 is greater than 2. That's an open circle shaded to the right on 2. Sebastian, any questions? Ooh, now these get fun. Was this the second worst? Yes, it was. This one here was the second worst. Orlando, what would you do first? Very good. What are you going to distribute? Close. Yeah, distribute a negative 2. So Q plus 12 minus 2Q plus 44. Jonathan, el próximo paso. Dale, que tú puedes. No? That's okay. Por lo menos trataste. Es lo más importante. Esmeralda, any idea? Next step? Link one straight S. Go ahead, Jasmine. Yeah, let's combine the like terms. Q minus 2Q is negative Q. And then 12 and 44 is plus 56 greater than 0. Now here there's a couple things you could do. You could worry about getting Q by itself by getting rid of the 56 and the negative, or you could realize how many terms does it look like are left? Well, it looks like 3, but really it's only 2 because 0 means that there's nothing over here. So if I just did this and I added Q, well, don't say it is going to be 56. It isn't 56. But what it is that 56 is greater than Q. And now I realize that I moved the variable to the right, and all of the integers have a variable on the left. But I taught you how to compare and contrast. These are the only two that it could be, because those are the only two that have the 56 as the critical point. Which one of those has the mouth eating the 56? Which one? D. Fax machine. Orlando, if Kayla gave you one of her balloons, would it make you feel better? If she lets you hold one of her balloons for the rest of class, would it make you feel better? No? You want an Adidas balloon, don't you? Okay, number 12. Josh, first step. Sounds good. I like it. 10x minus 7x is 3x. Everything else drops as if it was hot. But now when I want to move all the variables to the same side, Lord gets angry because no matter what side we move the x's to, they all cancel out. Since the time we were doing equations, what were you taught to do when all the variables cancel out? Absolutely, anything for you. Since the time that we worked on equations, what were you taught to do when all the variables cancel out? No, that's not what you were taught. What were you taught to do yesterday? That's not what you were taught to do. What were you taught to do when all the variables cancel out? Dating back to when we did equations. Thea? No idea. Phone for me? Yeah, Angel. No, not divide. What were you taught to do when all the variables cancel out in either an equation or an inequality? It rhymes with hop it like it's dot. Yeah, you drop it like it goes out. So negative 10 is greater than or equal to negative 2. And then ask yourself, look, well, we know for sure when there's no variables, hang in there, Jasmine. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. When there's no variables, we know that it's going to be one of these two. But we just don't know which one. Now ask yourself, is negative 10 greater than or equal to negative 2? No, it is neither. It is not greater. It is not equal to. So because it's none of the above, no solution. Problem be tripping. Okay, here's another one. This one. No, this is the fourth most. What do you want to do first, Tico? Pura vida, Tico. You write it down? It's already written for me. Nah. Mikhail? I wouldn't do that. You could, yeah, it looks like you could. Actually, fine, you know what? I'll give it to you. Yes. On the left side, I am going to go ahead and combine like terms. I'll give you that. Yeah, but no, but that's, you really shouldn't. What should you really going to do? Yeah, I'm going to distribute. Because on the next step, I'm going to have to combine like terms anyways, but that's fine. If you want to combine them on the left, you can. You can't do it on the right, though. So greater than 4x minus 17 plus 9. And even though we did it the first time, tell me again how you're not doing anything wrong. What are we going to have to do again? Let's do this. Stand up for a second. Stay in and check out your fresh page. Yeah, combine like terms again. So 9x plus 11 greater than or equal to 13x minus 17. Now make sure you face the front. Make sure you face the front. Kayla, next step. Okay, move. Which one do you want to move? I like the 9 too because now especially you saw that we want to avoid negatives in front of the variables so children don't get confused. And if the x's go all the way to the right, what do I have to do next? No, I already moved them over there. So what do I have to get rid of next? Plus 17, plus 17. So I get 28 greater than 4x divided by 4. So my critical point is 7. The mouth is eating the 7, and there's only one that's like that. The other boy. Go, Jasmine, go. Go, Jasmine. Jasmine. Orlando, first step. What am I going to distribute? You're the man, Orlando. Whoa. That's weird. Both sides look exactly the same. And even if I try to move the variables to one side, both sides are still exactly the same. But don't jump to conclusions. Just read it out. Is negative 4 greater than or equal to negative 4? It is. But before, see, the reason why I tell you to not jump to, yeah, look, fine, this is going to be C. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this sign here would have looked like this. Would it still be all real numbers? Would it still be true? No. In that case, it'd be no solution. If negative 4 is not greater than negative 4, but when you give it the chance to be or equal to, then it is. Facts. Are there any other questions on the quiz that I did not go over? That you want me to go over? Okay, number 5 for Tico. That little Chico Tico. Yeah, this one. This one was a tough one. How would you get x by itself here? Yeah, you are going to have 3 on both sides. And then as long as you have a calculator, I don't need one, but if you have a calculator, you get x is less than or equal to negative 9. So which one of these has a critical point at negative 9 with a circle shaded in and then shaded to the left? Are there any other questions on the quiz that I did? Yes. Number 9? I didn't do 9? No, I did not. Okay. Okay. Here, all we have to do is solve. We do not need to graph. So, if 4x plus 6 is less than negative 6, minus 6 minus 6. Make sure you don't put 0 there. Negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12 divided by 4. I'm dividing, but it's by a positive. The sign does not flip. I get x is less than negative 3. So the
what's the because I'm like let's do all the what's all the first options that you can do?
I don't know what that means. What do you mean all the first options?
Like
Okay, well, I mean, as far as like rules of thumb to follow, an expression just like an equation is made up of, an inequality just like an equation is made up of 2 expressions. So when you hear me say for the first step, oh, distribute or combine like terms, that's because on one of the 2 expressions, there's either a parentheses that I can remove, or there's like terms that could be combined. This one has none of the sort. There's no parentheses anywhere. There's no like terms to combine. So what I'm trying to do here is start to isolate. Isolate means get by itself. In order for x to be by itself here, I have to get rid of the 4 and the 6. So I've identified what I have to attack, but now I have to figure out how. Well, which one would I get rid of first? That's when either you do the backwards PEMDAS, or you just work your way outside in. Which one's further away from the x between the 4 and the 6? That's why I got rid of that first. What's the opposite of adding 6? I subtracted 6. The last step is to divide by 4. That causes some people confusion because they're like, oh, but Mr. Look, you got a negative. How come you didn't flip it? No, Jerson, I can still see it. Lo puedo ver. I can see it, so quítatelo. Yeah. Gracias. Muy amable. So as far as flipping the sign goes, it's not about what you end up with. It's about what did you do to both sides. And what I did to both sides was I divided by a positive. So the inequality sign stays the same. No caps, just facts. There, you brought it back out. You gonna put it back? Oh, pencil. Sorry. But you also want to be on the point. Any other questions on the quiz that I didn't go over? Okay. So that's yours to keep. You might want to use that to study for the test on Tuesday. And now one last thing before we call it a day, and you spend the rest of the weekend studying. This is the practice test that you took yesterday. So Lord, like if you were to do the retake, it lets you in on that little secret that the problems are exactly the same. So what I'm about to do for you right now, I have 8 of these. I'm going to do 8 problems from a practice test that only had 15. So I'm doing half the practice test for you. Not only am I doing half the practice test for you, I'm doing the ones that people miss the most. Which, guess what? The darndest thing. Okay? Even though so many of us claim that our reason for being here is because math is so hard, and it has nothing to do with, your preparation or lack thereof. Look at that. Look at the problem on the board. Look at the equation on the board. Okay? On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being brain surgery, or like rocket science, and 1 being, 2 plus 2. What would you rate that on a level of difficulty?
Well, actually,
a 42? No, that's not harder than rocket science.
It looks like a 5. No, not even a 5. Probably like a 3.
A 3, okay.
When you get to it, it's probably
like a 7. So it's like you're saying that if you ever needed to have brain surgery, you would not want that surgeon having to solve this because that'd be it's like really, really, really hard. So, anyways, the point I'm trying to make, okay, and you're gonna see a theme here, because what caught my attention wasn't so much the problem itself, but the type of problem. What types of problems did you see on yesterday's practice test that you don't always see here? What types of problems did you see on yesterday's practice test that you don't really see in this class? Fill in the blank. And the darndest thing, out of these 8 problems that were missing most, guess how many were fill in the blank? No, 7 of them. 7 of the 8 were fill in the blank. How many fill in the blank were there in the entire on the entire test? 7, yeah, 7. So pretty much across the board, which ones were the ones that were missed the most? The ones that you had to answer it. So you got a question. Well, is that really because they're the hardest, or what do you think that else that indicates to you? If the ones that people are missing the most are the ones that they actually have to come up with the answer all on their own, what does that indicate? Even though math is the hardest thing ever, as far as your preparation goes for assessments, what do you think a lot of people are doing on these tests and practice tests and quizzes? Guess. Not like I'm giving you the answer. I'm giving you the answer. What do you think they're doing? They're guessing. Yes. Because when it's multiple choice, it's easy to guess. All right. Well, let's see. Even though this is like a 7, let's see how hard this actually is. What would I do? There's no like terms here. There's no parentheses. So I want to start getting m by itself. What would I do first? I would definitely not subtract 3.
-2.
I want to get rid of a -2, but I'll add 2. Like they do in the hood. 3 is equal to 15. Next step. Yes, as 3 is being multiplied, Lord. The opposite of dividing is not subtracting. Sorry, the opposite of multiplying is not subtracting, it's dividing. So m equals 5. Now, if you are going to do the retake, Diana, something you might want to pay attention to, and I mentioned this in class yesterday, because of what I use, the instrument I use, which is a Google form, I tried to get it to account for different variations of ways you might type it in, but there's no way for me to account for everything. So the safest way to make sure you get it right, how did I tell you to type this in? Just put the number, just put the 5. So if you do decide to take the retake, which is also on a Google form, just put the number. Don't put the other stuff. No grinding in class. Jerson's the only one that's allowed to grind. Right, Jonathan? Oh, I don't know because he sat next to you. I thought you had. What's the first step here, Lord? Yeah, but there's 2 different 4, so which one would I get rid of and how? But your name's not Lord. His name is Lord. Definitely not divide. Yeah, it's still wrong. And that would still be wrong, but spoken like Hiram. Very good. His legacy lives on. All right. Next. Last step. Yes, Jasmine. Multiply by 4. Cancels it out and then equal to. Josh or Valentine would not appreciate that. Come on, Mikhail, hang in there, man. Hey, Lord, look. What will be the first step here? Since you see a parentheses. Yeah, this would be distributed. So -7 plus 21x minus 7x is equal to 91. This part of it just dropped. The first 2 terms are what I got from distributing. Esmeralda, would you know what I'm doing next? Next step. Próximo paso. No. Mickey D. is combined like terms. 21x minus 7x is 14x. As long as you say it's your right. Next step. Jerson, está equivocado. No, te perdiste. No, encuéntrate. Para atrás. Regresa. Muy bueno. Go. Mikhail? I'm not going to subtract 7, no.
I mean, we want to
Add 7. 14x is equal to 98. Last step. 14. And you get 7. Facts. Only one problem? You said what's his problem? That's you're intimating that there's only one problem. Go ahead, Kirsten. Good. Let's distribute a -5, which gives me -5 minus 10x. And then let's add 5 on both sides. So -80 is equal to -10x. And then, divide by -2. What would I type in on the Google form? Just the 8. Well, if you put 8x, it would definitely be wrong. Okay? But the thing is, I can't account. See, if you write 8 equals x, it's going to take it different as if you put x equals 8. If you put x space equals 8, or if you put x equals space 8, every time you hit a different button on the keyboard, it counts as a different answer. So I try to prepare the Google form. I tell it to accept several of those, but I cannot account for every single variation. So, the safest way to do it, the one I can guarantee you will work, is if you just put the number. I don't know. I didn't check. You know what grade you got. I don't have all the grades memorized. But what I did memorize is me telling you on the free response, and actually it wouldn't be everyone because there was multiple choice. But on the free response, I told you, put just a number. But don't worry about it. Luckily, there's a retake. It should, but it depends on if you use a space or not. Like, I'm not gonna put 37 different answers. Like, I put a couple for it to accept, but I can't account for every single possible way you might type it in. Diana, first step. You did so well on this. I thought you would know it. You want me to write it bigger for you? Good. 16p minus 64 plus 5p is equal to 83. Next step. So 21p minus 64 is equal to 83. And then plus 64 will work. So we get 21p is equal to 147. Divide by 21. P is 7. 3 more. Distribute again. -5p plus 35. Diana, would you like to sit closer? I can move you closer if you can't see. You don't have contacts? Can we get to this? I'll say the next step. Okay, combine like terms. -5 and -6 is -11p plus 35. Oh, I put a plus here. Equals 7 plus 3p. What side do you want to put all the p's on? I like putting them in the right because I already read the negative. So plus 11p. Balance that off by doing minus 7. So 28 is equal to 14p divided by 14. Jair, look. This problem goes out from Orlando to you. Happy Valentine's Day. P equals 2.
Orlando couldn't solve that.
That's why he dedicated it to you. He said that if he could, he would, but he can't. Word problem, also missed quite a bit. What do they want to know in this word problem? What are we looking for? How many weeks? So that's our variable. Let's define our variable. W equals number of weeks. W is equal to the number of weeks. That they'll have data. If you read it, it says that in total, mommy and daddy spent 720. Out of that 720, how much was spent on the phone itself? 600. Plus how much per week? 10W. So minus 600. Minus 600. 10W is equal to 120 divided by 10. W is equal to 12. So that means 12 weeks. 12 semanas. ¿Otra vez? ¿Otra vez? Déjame ver la oreja. Tiene una... Bien lindo. Oh, ok. Estaba jodiendo. Tienes tremenda oreja, hermano. Okay, and then see, Mikhail, there wasn't all free response. There were half of it was multiple choice. So, this one was also one of the ones missed the most. In order to get A by itself, what do I have to do? I want to get this A right here by itself. What do I have to do in order to isolate the A? Divide by? Divide by, yes? If I want to get A by itself, and there's a C right next to it. Well, the C's already being multiplied, so you would divide by 1. Theo? You would divide by C, but wait, there's more. See, dividing by C works great on this side, but it doesn't work too well on the other side because there's a fraction there. So we learned an alternative. What is dividing the same as? No. Multiplying by a reciprocal. The reciprocal of C is 1 over C. The key part that you got to understand is where is the C located? Where is the C located? On the bottom. Alright, I'm done. As